Hello, Transurfer and the Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia, and this is Transurfing TV, y'all. And today, signs of progress. One of the greatest things that I've ever done for myself is I started to quantify what I want, or when I'm seeing success, quantify how much money I want, quantify what a good relationship looks like to me, right? And I know that sounds like, well, how do you quantify that? It's more about setting up parameters or little cues to kind of let you know that things are in fact the way that you want them to be, that you intend for them to be, right? Because as human beings, we tend to just want more, like more. So if you can really harness the ability to quantify, set benchmarks, ask yourself truly, oh God, truly what it is you want and what level of what you'd be happy with, this is how you find happiness. I'm actually going to run this video the day after the video Pleasure and Pain. I would suggest looking at that video as well, because this has a lot to do with that sort of idea that when we have these instinctual drives as human beings, and even when we're meeting that drive, more money, more, procreation, love, sex, all that stuff, the happier we are, but we never actually sit down and be like, okay, well, what amount would I be happy with exactly? So it doesn't matter how much you get. This is why I don't like the word abundance. I hate that word, abundance. Because abundance to me sounds like a human being saying, I just want more, right? And when you just want more, you are constantly, at least I know this is what it was like for me, I was constantly like just going for more, and it was never enough. There was never enough of anything. I was approaching things from a lack mentality because what I had was never enough, and I just wanted more, and it kept me in this place of drive that was very unhealthy and very, very damaging. So I like to now really measure my progress, like 100%. I like to know that I'm hitting benchmarks, and I don't mean this in an importance kind of way. I mean this in a very just pragmatic, this is what I need to be happy. And when I go about, okay, I met a quarter of that, I met half that, I met 3/4 of that, okay, I met that. Now I can maintain it. Now I can focus my attention on other things that then I can quantify how much I want to do of that. And being able to approach my reality in this way has done just immeasurable things for my mindset, for my quality of thoughts, for everything. I mean, life has just gotten better. Before I get into this though, remember to like this video and comment below and subscribe. My World is Taking Care of Me and Reality 2.0 teachable course down below, where I talk a lot about love and money, the big things, right? So this video, signs of progress. Again, this is about you paying attention, because when we're wrapped up in the present moment, which we should be living in the present, absolutely, we should be living in the present. But when we're too overly wrapped up in the present moment, we forget about the state we were in prior to this frame. And when we do that, when we forget of where we came from, or what we had, let's just say a week ago or a month ago or a year ago or 10 years ago, it's hard for us to see that we are actually ahead, if you are in fact ahead. Now, if you're not, it's probably because you're not setting these sorts of parameters and then just going at working. Okay, let me get 10% of that. Let me get 20% of that. Let me get 50. Okay, I met it, 100. So progress with all of this self-development stuff, primarily reality transurfing, is going to be measured in somewhat of the same way. So I'm going to go through a list of some of the ways that I've measured or seen signs of progress, and they probably are going to hold true to you too. And this is to keep you on track so you don't say to yourself, hey, this isn't working, I'm going to give up, or I'm going to go after a new modality, which is totally fine, but don't give up on things thinking that they're not working, especially self-development, when you have in fact seen some signs of progress. So my signs of progress: I set and hold boundaries better. This is something that I've been challenged by my entire life. People overstepping me overgiving, me letting people abuse me. This has been a big one. I no longer do that. So I know things are improving. Even if my snail mind says that they're not, oh, nothing's really improving, things are just staying the same. No, you know what? You've cleared out a lot of crap and you've allowed a lot of good in, and this is via my newfound skill to set and hold boundaries. I am comfortable with being me, comfortable being you, right? I used to live in a way where I was always trying to be somebody I wasn't. And now I actually have these brief moments where I sort of panic with my boyfriend, where I've been in pajamas for 2 days and no makeup, singing stupid songs to my dog at ungodly volumes in the house. And I go, oh my God, what am I doing? He's going to be so turned off by this. And then I realized, wait a second, no, he's not. He loves me for these things, because that's the type of person I let into my reality now. One that loves me and supports who I truly am. And this comes from me loving and supporting and being comfortable with who I truly am, right? Not trying to adhere to some standard of some pendulum outside of me. So this really has to do with you being in touch with your soul frail, being comfortable with who you are and not adhering to another person's standards, an individual, a bigger pendulum, whatever it is. Kinder to yourself when you mess up. Kinder to myself when I mess up. I mess up now and I'm like, I laugh. I don't get super hard and down on myself like I used to. I understand I'm a human being and I allow myself the luxury of being a human being that messes up. And I just laugh now, because in the past I would have gotten all bent out of shape, and this is how I know I am progressing, right? Ability to extend your responsiveness. This is a huge one. For me, I know one of the most obvious ways that I've improved, that I've had progress, is when something's going down in my external reality and I go to react, right? I go to respond, be that snail, like, but I don't. I stop myself and I say to myself, I see my reality. I see this pendulum trying to hook me, and I'm not gonna take the bait, right? This is one of my biggest signs of progress, and I absolutely love when I get these moments, people doing something somewhere and I'm getting sucked in, and then all of a sudden I'm like, boom, right before I get to that moment where I give it energy, I pull back and I say to myself, I see my reality. And it ain't gonna go down like that, y'all. It doesn't go down like that anymore. Once in a while, I'll let myself, act like a snail. But even then, I let myself, right? I'm not doing it with mindlessness. Cut ties with those that are not good for you. Again, this comes back to setting and holding boundaries. For a long time, I was improving, but my improvement was still hindered because I was involved with people that weren't good for me, and it was just a big pendulum, sucking my energy, keeping energy levels at a not optimum place, and my layer of reality suffering because of that, and really having the ability to say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna just cut it off. This has been huge for me. And does it suck that certain people aren't in my life anymore? Yeah, you know what? I miss them. But things are so much better when I feel I'm in control of what I let into my layer of reality. And I don't make excuses. I don't say, oh, well, you've known them your whole life. Or, oh, they're family. It doesn't matter. I take care of me first, period. Trust the flow, even when challenged. This is huge. So in the past, when things maybe weren't going in the exact direction of my intentions or not seeming like they were, I would get all bent out of shape and be like, oh my God, this isn't happening the way that this isn't going the right way. This isn't working. This isn't this isn't that, right? So knowing that I am seeing but a percentage of what is actually going on. I am seeing just a fraction. I know that my world is taking care of me. Everything is going according to plan and things are working out beautifully and will continue to do so with ease. And I can trust this even when sales are down, even when something's happened in the family, even when something external that I have no control over is making the flow look like it's going in a funky direction. I trust this, and I know that I am in fact seeing signs of progress when all hell can be breaking loose. And I'm like, whoa, isn't this interesting? This is super fascinating, right? And it's still going to right itself. So last three quickly, I have more energy. I have emotional regulation. This gets back to, ability to extend your responsiveness, extend your time rather. That's what I meant to say with this one. So this is you being really quick to respond or you stopping and I see myself, I see my reality. It's the same with the emotional regulation. Maybe something happens and you start to get this emotional response and you stop yourself. And you actually pay attention to what's going on. Again, this is why I'm running this video the day after the pleasure and pain thing that I talked about yesterday. This has to do very much with this. So if something happens, let's say boyfriend breaks up with you, and you start to spin and spiral and go downhill and induce transition and all this stuff, that you can stop yourself and say, that's just my human nature trying to keep me in line with what I'm programmed to do, and that's procreate. And that's why when boyfriend breaks up with me, I go down, because human nature doesn't want me to be alone. It wants me to be with a person because we can procreate and keep the species going, right? Awareness levels consistently high. And I'll leave it with this. This is besides my ability to extend my responsiveness, extend the time on the time frame on how I respond. One of the number one signs that I am progressing as a human being is that my awareness levels are high, even in the craziest situations, right? Family members could be having at each other, pendulum city, something could be going down, all kinds of hell could be breaking loose, and I am not getting sucked into the external script. My awareness levels are consistently high. I see myself, I see my reality. I understand what I have control over and what I don't have control over, but keeping my awareness, this is all about awareness, right? The whole of Transurfing is about your ability to maintain awareness of your thoughts, your frequency, and your action, therefore maintaining the ability to create your own reality. Or you get lost into some other version of reality, and this is you going to sleep and not being in an aware state of being. So with that, remember to like this video and comment below. My world is taking care of me. And thank you so much for watching my video. Bye guys.